Alright, what is up YouTube? Today I'm actually going to be talking about one of my favorite movies of all time, and that is Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. So, I can't remember who it was, but someone actually told me Scott Pilgrim is the best anime live action adaptation that we've ever gotten. And they were a fellow film peer, so I know they didn't actually mean that. I actually respected this person a lot, if I remember correctly, and he was a fellow anime fan as well, so he knew that Scott Pilgrim wasn't, actually an anime, but he said that, with the presumption that, he knew that Edgar Wright wanted to mimic the feel of anime when making the film, and that's kind of where that statement came from. At least that's what I'm gonna go with, if I remember correctly. I mean, I don't exactly remember who it was that told me that, but I'm pretty sure it was this person, and if it was this person, then that's the story I'm gonna go with. But anyways, yeah, so Scott Pilgrim, right? Like, I guess if you want to go that route and argue that it's a anime live action, right? Let's talk about it, So Scott Pilgrim is a film based on a Canadian comic. Edgar Wright is the director. He directed, Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead, more recently Baby Driver, etc., right? With this movie, with Scott Pilgrim, he went on record to say that he wanted to mimic the feel of anime, and I think it is very apparent in the film that you can tell what he means by that, with the really quick pacing, a lot of the dramatic cuts and zoom-ins and everything, and the way he handles kind of just exaggeration, I feel like is very, very apparent, and it's very well done. And I think that is something that is kind of worrisome for people when they think about translating, certain things, certain humor, certain, tones from anime into live action. I feel like Scott Pilgrim is a perfect example of how those things can be translated, and can be translated well. Because Edgar Wright does such a great job of, like he said, mimicking the feel of anime. And, I think that's probably why Scott Pilgrim is one of my favorite films of all time, if not my favorite film of all time, is just because Scott Pilgrim is hilarious. The film, I feel like every time I watch Scott Pilgrim, I find something else to laugh about. I find just something. I've seen it literally so many times, probably more than 20 times by now, but every single time I watch it, I find something new that I'm like, oh my god, that's so funny. And it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, like, technically Scott Pilgrim is a comic that is Canadian, so it's not, you could argue that it's a foreign comic, much like manga, which anime is adapted from most of the time, right? There are definitely some similarities already there. I actually do have the Scott Pilgrim comic book complete, set, all the books, everything, and I've read them all, and I can tell you that there's definitely a few things, in the comic that actually, you can kind of just see translated into the film really, really well. It's only because of Edgar's, vision and desire to translate them in a specific way, right? And I feel like something that is kind of lacking as of right now when it comes to anime live action is just sheer amount of style and stylistic choices. I feel like you can argue that, certain adaptations shouldn't try to just focus on the film trying to mimic that anime style or the style of that anime, and should just more so focus on trying to be a good film or a good TV show by itself with, the story of the anime, as its story, right? And I think that, that is definitely a fair argument. That is definitely a solid case for a lot of anime adaptations, whether they're already out or currently, slated to be out. But I also think that there is a lot of filmmakers in the film industry that really just don't get anime and don't get the style. And I feel like if they got the style, the live actions that could be upon us would just honestly be so cool, just to see. It just comes down to a lot of filmmakers not understanding anime at all. And so when they try to mimic a feel, or when they try to copy a style that they know nothing of, it just comes off as really, really bad. And I think a lot of times that's what we end up getting. But I will say, yeah, you know, Edgar really did a great job, I think, with Scott Pilgrim, even though it's not, you know, an anime adaptation. I kind of understand, you know, what my friend meant when he said, yeah, Scott Pilgrim is the best anime live action we've ever gotten. So, yeah, you know, that's just something that always kind of stuck with me, and I was like, you know, I kind of want to make a video about it. I mean, unironically, Scott Pilgrim is getting an animation in the works currently as we speak, so that's kind of funny. But yeah, you know, Scott Pilgrim, you know, my favorite movie of all time, and obviously anime live action is the purpose of this channel, so of course I had to make a video about this at some point, right? Also, yeah, it's super funny, right? Because I feel like a lot of people are like, oh my god, you know, Scott Pilgrim's like my favorite movie ever. And I'm like, well, where the fuck were you when the movie came out in the theaters? Because when that came out, no one was supporting that movie. But you know, now it's funny because it's like it has such a huge cult following. I feel like now everyone loves that movie, but yeah, no one liked it back then. But you know, now that there are so many fans of the movie, and you have some people that would argue that, you know, it has that anime feel to it, and you know, even Edgar himself saying that he wanted to mimic the feel of anime when making the film, you know, it's like, well, I mean, are we really that far off from anime live action being a thing? Like, come on, guys. But yeah, what do you guys think actually about this topic? Do you think that, you know, Edgar Wright should maybe be a choice for directing an anime live action? Do you think Scott Pilgrim versus the World's style could be considered a good choice for like direction and tone for, you know, any upcoming live action anime adaptations? And yeah, what do you guys think about the rest of what I had to say? Let me know in the comments below. Leave a like on the video, subscribe if you haven't already. That helps me out a ton. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video.